Webb Pierce is my guest, and earlier we were talking about Farron Young, and there seems to be so many Farron Young Webb Pierce stories that are funny. And Webb told me this one before the show, and I asked him if he'd retell it. But you and Farron have really been through the ups and downs together, haven't you?
Oh, many times, yes. I remember when I had my first hit record, and I was going out to Louisiana, down in the deep south there, and I had Farron fronting my show for me, and well, I was looking forward to playing this club, and was among the French people down there, Cajuns they call.
Mm-hmm.
Well, anyway, Farron opens up the program that night, and this lady kept coming up and says, "Say, boy," says, "where's Webb Pierce?" And I was sitting off over in the corner there talking to the owner of the club, you know, and he says, "Well, he's right over yonder in that corner." She said, "Well, get him up here. I want to hear him sing." He said, "Well, he'll be up here in a minute." Well, he sang another song, and here this lady comes back again and says, "I want to hear Webb Pierce." He says, "Get him up here." He said, "Well, he'll be up in a minute, lady." And, you know, he's getting madder and madder. I could hear him over the microphone. He's standing right there at the microphone talking, you know, and finally she come back and said, "Look, I paid my money to hear Webb Pierce. Now, you get him up here right now." And he said, "Look, you so-and-so," says, "he's sitting right over there in the corner," and said, "If you want him, you go get him. And get away from here and let me alone." Well, all these people, these Cajuns, and they heard this right out over the microphone, and boy, they got mad, and they run us all off. I never did get to sing.
You mean that they ran you off, too?
Well, I got up and got out when they attacked the Farron and the group. I said, "Well, there ain't no need of me coming up there and getting into it." So I just got out of there.
Webb, what do you remember about an old song called "I'm Walking the Dog"?
Well, I remember singing it on the Louisiana Hayride. The folks always liked it very much, and so I finally recorded it for Decca Records.
All right, let me ask you this. At any one time, how many tunes did you have in the charts? At one time?
In the top 12, there were 7.
Now, wait a minute. Mm-hmm. You had 7 tunes in the top 12?
Yeah, they tabulated 15, and out of the top 12, there were 7 of mine, and 2 of them were tied for #1.
All right, what were they? Can you recall?
Well, it was Slowly, More and More, I'm Walking the Dog, There Stands a Glass, Yes, 4, I Don't Care. No, that wasn't in there. That was later on. That song came on. Oh, let's see.
What year are we into?
54.
Was this 1954?
It's 50. No, that was 55. But they More and More leaked over into the 55. Some of the songs were still in the charts that hit in the latter part of 54 and leaked over into 55.
So your old records would still be in the charts when your new ones would come out?
Yeah, in fact, 2 or 3 different times the one record would replace the other for #1. Like Slowly replaced... no, There Stands a Glass replaced Slowly in the charts, and that happened a couple of different times.
What I'm trying to illustrate here is how hot you were at that time, because you had nothing but hits.
I was very lucky, and I'm very thankful for that, too.
I don't want to get too far into it because a lot of people around the country will not identify with the story. But I'm sure they have read from time to time in Associated Press and United Press dispatches that in Nashville you have had a little tiff with Ray Stevens. Ray's your neighbor across the street, isn't he?
Yes, he moved in there a couple of years ago, I guess.
Y'all aren't getting along too well, I take it.
Well, I'm getting along fine. I have nothing against Ray. It's, you know, he just doesn't like my fans. That's what he says. They bother him, you know. And I can understand the buses running up and down the street, but it's really not my fault that the buses are running up and down the street. There's more important people on that street than me, and I don't consider myself important.
All right, let me set this up a little more. Did you coin the expression hillbilly Hollywood?
Yes.
Okay. In Nashville, there is a street, a very fashionable street called Curtiswood Lane. And the governor of Tennessee, his mansion is on that particular street. And
Minnie Pearl.
Minnie Pearl lives next door to the governor of Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
And Webb Pierce lives on that street.
Actually, Ray lives on Franklin Road. See, his driveway leads off Franklin Road. He had the other drive built that come down on Curtiswood Lane.
Or his house sits between Franklin Road and Curtiswood Lane.
Yeah.
He has objected, I think, to the tour buses that come by to see the stars' homes.
Yeah.
or too many of them.
Yes, he's objected said that bothered him. He lives back in the woods there. I don't know how it could bother him any way. Of course, I'm just abiding by what it says on the TV. It says the tourists that come to Tennessee, be nice to them. The state does advertise that, and that's what I'm doing. I'm being nice to them and getting a chance to go out and meet them personally and shake hands with them, and I love them because they did a lot for me.
All right, have you and Ray Stevens sued each other?
Well, he's a lot friendlier since I beat him twice in court.
I see.
Yes, he's a lot friendlier.
All right, I don't want to get too far into the discussion of the Ray Stevens controversy with Webb Pierce because Ray isn't here to give us his side. When Ray was on this show, all he said was, and he said, I got the impression he didn't want to talk about it. He said, Webb's trying to build a bus station across the street, and if he does, I'm going to build a gas station and sell him gas.
I agree with him that the traffic was being congested there, and that's why I was trying to alleviate that situation. That's all I was.
You were trying to build a bus ramp for them?
Not a ramp, a parking place, a place where they could pull off.
Pull off the street?
They got that ramp's name started, and it's so much publicity, everybody talks about it, hollers ramp. Yeah. They don't holler, they say ramp. They just say, what about the ramp? But it was just a place to pull off so that the traffic wouldn't be congested.
This was on your property, then?
On my own property, yes. And that was about all there was to it, It just snowballed, and the fact...
You think that the media sort of blew it out of proportion?
Well, I guess if Ray had dropped it after the first... time the courts awarded me the decision, and if he'd dropped it there, it wouldn't have caused so much controversy. But he went on to the Court of Appeals, and then they still give me the benefit of the doubt, and so actually I think it's got funny to both of us. In the long run, it started getting funny.
Oh, are y'all speaking?
Oh, I speak to him every time I see him. I like Ray. I have nothing against him.
Okay. My guest this week, 20 years ago, was the biggest star in the world of country music. He has sold something in the neighborhood of, 48 to 50 million records. Is that an accurate?
68 million.
I'm sorry, I was down at 18 million. 68 million records.
Yes, altogether.
Webb, do you get tired of people saying 20 years ago?
No, not necessarily, because I was only 9 years old when I started singing, Ralph.
But at one time, you swept every award that country music had to offer.
Yes, I was very thankful for that.
And I was, on the way over here, I was wondering, as far as you are concerned, as far as Eddie Arnold is concerned, as far as a lot of people are concerned, who haven't made hit records lately, why do you keep making records?
Well, because I am still a young man and enjoy the business and enjoy making personal appearances, and people still want me to make records and make personal appearances, and, it's just my life.
That's about what I expected you to say. Now, we'll take it a step further. Do you think anybody that you know that sings and has been singing successfully can retire once it gets in your blood?
Well, yes, I think they can if they have other things to take interest in, you know.
I've never known anybody that could retire. Roy Acuff used to say he was going to retire. He hasn't retired.
Well, that's true. I'd say the percentage would be awfully low.
Could you retire? Could you walk away from show business?
I could, but I'd have to do something else. I couldn't just walk around and enjoy counting money.
Well, now, I think that... I don't want to get too personal, but it is a well-known fact that you're pretty well off.
Well, I'm thankful.
So you could quit.
Yes, I could
But
retire.
my point is it in your blood to the point that you couldn't give it up?
No, I don't think anything. I never let anything master me to that extent, because what if I had to give it up? You see, I have to look at it that way. And so if I allow myself to ever be in a position where I say I can't do it, then what if I have to do it? So therefore, I never go that far. I keep it at arm's distance.
I see.
So I can push it away if I have to.
I don't know many Webbs. I don't know many Farrons. I don't know. I guess I know one Farron.
Yeah, there's only one.
What's your entire name, Webb?
Michael Webb Pierce.
Oh, Michael.
Mm-hmm.
So why not Mike Pierce?
I don't know. They just always call me Webb.
That has a bite to it.
Yeah.
Mike Pierce.
Uh-huh, yeah.
The last time we did one of these little shows, we were talking about your kids.
Mm-hmm.
Weren't they getting into show business, your little girl?
Debbie, yeah, had done some recording for MCA, and she did one record with me, and then she got married and quit.
I see. So she's become a housewife then.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Did you approve of the marriage?
Yes, she married a nice boy, a college boy.
Did he have to come and see you and get your permission?
I think he talked to their mother.
I see. Now, you've got a very pretty wife. How long have you and Audrey been married?
Well, we got married in 1952.
She's real pretty, and I get the impression, Webb, you can correct me if I'm wrong, that she sort of runs the shop over there at your house.
Well, yes, that's her job. She runs everything around there, lawnmowers and all.
I don't believe that.
Now, that's her job in the house, you know, as to how she wants to, the interior decoration and everything, and how she wants it to look.
Well, I guess what I've tried to say...
You're trying to tell me I'm a henpecked husband. I know what you're trying to say, Ralph.
Well, are you?
Not hardly.
Huh?
Not hardly. It's 50-50 deal with us, you know.
Well, I tell you, she sure is pretty. I don't know how you ever worked that out.
I sometimes wonder myself.
Wonder what you remember about Johnny Cash when he first came along.
Well, the first meeting of Johnny and I was back in '55. Bob Neal was handling Elvis Presley and Johnny Cash, and they, at that time, had just started in the business. And I had both of them on the show with me on tour. He wanted me to take them on tour to give them some exposure. And
at this time, you were hotter than a depot stove, weren't you?
I was doing real well, very well. And so Cash had one record out. Hey Porter was the name of it. And Elvis had, I believe, I Forgot to Remember to Forget. He'd had several releases, but he hadn't really become phenomenal like he is, or dead, rather. And Cash was very nervous, I remember.
He was a lot skinnier, too, wasn't he?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Just out of the Air Force, wasn't he?
Mm-hmm. And he was a very nervous type.
Were they
person.
working for you?
Yeah, I paid Presley $250 a day for he and his whole band. He didn't have a couple of people with him, though.
So you bought, what,
Cash was $50.
All right, now I want you to be honest about this, okay?
Yeah.
Did you have to follow Elvis in any of these situations?
No, I made sure that I wouldn't take them if I did.
Webb, I am going back to the subject of Farron Young one more time, at least, because I think Farron tells funny stories about you.
Yes, they were funny. I even laugh at them, and there's not half of them true.
You ever get mad at him?
No.
All right.
No,
All right,
my mother always taught me to tolerate children.
Well, now, the reason I wanted to establish that is because he's about to jump on you with both feet about your golf game. So let's listen as we talk again with Farron Young.
I've been playing golf a lot, and also I've been working a lot of fairs and rodeos.
You played golf with Webb Pierce before he came over here, didn't you?
Yeah, Super Webb. Boy, he is some golfer, I'm going to tell you. You know, Webb has no coordination whatsoever. He can't operate a ballpoint pen. And I'm telling you, he couldn't even keep score.
What kind of golfer is he?
Well, let's see. When I got to 172, I stopped on him. We run out of paper. Webb, I tell you, Webb tickles me. He was going to wash his ball out there one time. We was playing golf, and he pulled this thing out of this little deal to put your golf ball in. You're supposed to put it in a little hole. He just throwed it down there and just crammed it down to the bottom of this tank. There wasn't no way to get it out. And another time we was playing, he had a caddy and to watch his ball, because Webb can't see all that good. So he hits this ball and it slices over in the right woods. He said, "All right, son, run on over there and get the ball." So the kid takes off and Webb tees up and he hooks one over in the other woods. So here come the kid out of with the slice ball out of the right. Said, "Here you are." And Webb said, "Go get that other." And the kid said, "What other?" And he said, "Don't ask me, son. I hired you to watch the ball." The kid ain't never seen the second ball go in the woods. He was playing with, I don't know, a Dunlop or something one time, and he hit it and went in the woods, and we went over looking for it, and I found a Titleist. I said, "What are you hitting?" He said, "What is that?" I said, "It's a Titleist." He said, "That's good enough. I'll just play it."
All right, Webb. Farron has really raked you over the coals with talking about your golf game.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember that occasion?
Oh, yeah. Well, I'll say that when I first started golfing, he was going to teach me how. Evidently, he hadn't done a very good job of it. But anyway, I did put the ball in the thing and put the stopper on top of it instead of putting it in a little slot. He talked about I couldn't figure. I think I've done better with figures than he has, you know.
What kind of golfer is Farron?
Oh, he's a fair golfer. He plays pretty good. He's trying hard to break 100.
You ever beat him?
Yeah, I beat him. I beat him a couple of times, and every time I do, he said, "I don't know what's wrong with me today." He said, I've been touring so much and everything." He said, "This road's just getting me down, just killing me."
He always has an excuse.
Oh, yes. I told him, I think, Farron, what it is, it's the anger of defeat.
He also does a pretty good interpretation of your speaking voice.
Mm-hmm.
It's cuts the words off very sharply. Like son. Do you say son?
Oh, yeah, I used to say it to him like that, son.
Webb, since you've seen so many stars come up the ladder and go up the ladder of success, I wanted to ask you about Mel Tillis because of your long association with him. What do you remember about Mel Tillis when he first came to town?
That he stuttered.
Well,
was about the first thing. Well, the first thing I remember is the first time I met him. I had recorded one of his songs called "I'm Tired." And,
oh, Lord, I'm tired.
Yeah, mm-hmm. And it was at a convention, and the record had just come out, and I met him downstairs there at the old Andrew Jackson Hotel, and he stuttered. And my wife was with me, and I remember, and we left, and I said, he act like something wrong with him. She said, "Well, he stutters." I just thought he's nervous. But he stuttered.
Did it surprise you that he became a singer?
Well, it surprised me that he could sing as well as he did. That surprised me, but I had seen people before that couldn't talk, that stuttered, that could sing and MC a radio show.
Now, I presume that when he would bring you these early hits that he brought to you, "I Ain't Never" and "Honky Tonk Song," he would bring you his dub. He would be singing on the dub, wouldn't he?
On the first song, it was a dub, and the second one was his record I copied. After that, he went to writing for the company that I own, Cedarwood.
Oh, I see.
And he would come with his guitar and sing them to me in my office there. I had an office there in Cedarwood. And he'd come in there and sing them to me and see what I thought of them. If I liked them, then he'd make me a dub on them.
Charley Pride, as I understand it, when he first came to Nashville, at the suggestion of Red Savine, looked up Webb Pierce.
Yes, so he came to me. And
Could you tell me that story?
well, he came to me there at my office and wanted to sing in my band, He said he'd like to sing in my show. So I kidded him a little bit. Really, I didn't think too much about him singing country music, You can imagine, you'd thought, well, he'd sing rock. And I said, well, I'm trying to hold down that job myself right now as the singer of the group, He said, oh, really, Webb, I can sing country. And I said, well, I'll tell you what we'll do. I'll get Jack Johnson, which is his manager was up until recently, and get him to take you down there and make a tape on you and bring it back, and I'll listen to it. So Jack Johnson took him and made the tape, but he never did bring it back to me. He took it and went to RCA Victor and got him on records and quit working for me and went to working managing Charley Pride.
That's a
good move for him.
Jack Johnson worked there at Cedarwood Publishing Company, right? And because you sent Jack back to audition Charley Pride.
Yeah.
You started a whole new career for Jack, didn't you?
Yeah.
Has Jack ever thanked you for that?
Many times.
Because you made Jack Johnson a lot of money.
Yeah, well, he's thanked me many times,
Well, now, Charley and Red Savine both have told me their version of the story, that Red Savine was singing in Montana on a show, and Charley Pride was on the same show and worked in a copper smelter, I think. And
he did. He told me that Red Savine had told me to him that I was the man to see.
But he was a black man. There were no black men in country music at the time. That must have startled you a little bit.
Yes, it did. I didn't. He said he wanted to sing in the band, and I didn't see how he could sing country music because most colored folks sang the rock stuff and everything, and I just. But I wanted to hear what he sounded like, So I made the mistake of letting Jack take him and record him down there in the studio.
You realize you could have been Charley Pride's manager?
Oh, yes.
Does that bother you a little bit?
No, it doesn't. I'm glad that Charley has had the success and got the success, and I'm glad that Jack had the position of handling him. Jack's a good boy.
You realize the money that walked out the window that day?
Yeah, but I'm not greedy. I don't want it all. I'm just thankful everything's been good for me.